You don't need the biggest food plot, the most expensive feeders, or the perfect property to consistently bring in big bucks. What you do need is something that most hunters overlook: consistency. Today, we're talking about how steady, predictable strategies always outperform short bursts of perfection, and how you can use it to pull in more bucks than ever. One of the things I hear a lot about in the deer feed world is, man, how can I really make a difference? Today, I really want to talk about an element of feeding deer that we think is so overlooked, and that's simply consistency. A little bit consistently will do more than a lot once. You've got to really begin to believe in that as a hunter, as a conservationist, as a land manager, and as someone who simply wants to make a difference on their farm. Something consistently will make a difference. We've seen it over and over again. Consistency matters whether you have 5,000 acres or 50 acres. If you're willing to put something more on your farm than what's there consistently, you will begin to see a difference in your deer herd. I hear it all the time. Steve, I don't have the money to put thousands and thousands of pounds of feed on my property. You're right, not everybody does. We're here to tell you, you don't have to use thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of feed on your property to make a difference. We've seen far too often, just something consistently will make a difference. So if that means just putting out a 50-pound bag, just putting out 500 pounds, just putting out whatever you can do will make a difference. Because at the end of the day, it's about adding nutrition to the deer's body that they have not had in years past. Find a budget, find a program, and stick to it. A lot of times I tell guys on a property that say is 1,200 acres, you could put as much feed on that 1,200 acres as you wanted to and the deer are going to eat it. But that far exceeds the budget that they have. Set a standard and follow it. A lot of times what I tell people is put out a ton of feed on that farm the next month, and when it's gone, it's gone. And do it again over and over again. However far it goes is how far it goes. The reality is you're adding nutrition to that farm that's never been there before. Oftentimes we tell people, take the high-end deer mix, cut it with corn, and you've just expanded your tonnage further into the month. Or if you're only gonna be able to feed a certain amount, let's pick the best, most pivotal months of the year to feed and skip the others. Think about what your neighbor's doing versus what you're doing. A lot of people are just feeding during deer season, and if you're feeding outside of deer season, you're going to create a habit for deer to come over to your farm and want to get that great nutrition that they're looking for. Bucks are always looking for resources, especially during certain times of the year when resources are low. And if you have something out there, you will begin to attract those bucks on a regular basis because they know it's there and they're looking for it. One of the big mistakes that people make is they'll run out of resources, or they'll come in 100 miles an hour and they'll run out of steam. And what you've done there is you've created a pattern for the deer, but then you took it away from them. So what are deer gonna do? They're gonna go look for that resource somewhere else. That's another reason why consistency is more important than just trying to hit a home run with putting a lot of feed out at once. When a deer knows that he has a resource there, he's gonna continue to come to it day in and day out, week in and week out, month after month. And when all of a sudden you pull that away from him, they're gonna panic in a way, especially during those pivotal growing season months, because they have to have digestible energy, they have to have the protein, they have to have the vitamins and minerals. And if all of a sudden it's gone, they will change their behavior. But if you continue to do something consistently, you can bet on the fact that those deer are going to visit your property more times than not. We're a deer feed manufacturer, and we want to sell as much deer feed as possible. But we believe in this. Whatever your budget is, maximize it. Do something consistently instead of trying to hit a home run with one big shot. You'll see a bigger difference. Oftentimes in talking to customers or talking to hunters, they've become very discouraged with the fact that they don't believe they can feed enough to make a difference. They don't believe that they have a big enough property to actually grow bigger deer. And I'm here to tell you guys, that is a myth. We have seen it over and over again, especially the type of deer that you actually want to harvest, the bigger, mature bucks. Once bucks get some age on them, they really start to live in a smaller area. They don't travel as much. That should give you encouragement to say, you know what? I only have 50 acres. I only have 100 acres. I only have 500 acres. You can grow big deer on small pieces of property, and that's why doing something consistently matters, because those deer are there and you don't need as much as you think you do. If you own a big piece of property and you have lots of mouths to feed, if you really want to make a difference and see a difference in your deer herd, you're going to have to match the volume to the amount of mouths that you're feeding. But don't let the fact that maybe you have a smaller piece of property or you don't have as high deer density convince you that you can't make a difference. You can. Doing something often will make a difference. And I think after a couple years of doing that, you'll begin to look at your property and realize, hey, I really got something going here. This works. I just got to stick to the game plan of making sure they have something more times than they don't. We have tons more to share. Check out one of the videos here or here.